My name is Peaches, and every day I write a letter to our President Donald Trump. Here's what I wrote yesterday. Dear Mr. President, what a terrible day for our country. I know you're under really big, huge pressure because you're doing that awful thing you do when you're afraid. You're speaking without thinking. Now, I've been warning you in my recent letters to take 15 seconds to stop and think before you speak or tweet or yell at some innocent reporter. I know you've read my letters carefully, but why haven't you been taking my advice? I just want to help you and your ailing campaign regain its footing before you drive the whole bus off a cliff. My Republican friends are really concerned about you and the mess you're making in Washington. A few have even confided in me that they're not even going to support you in the next election. We don't want the country taken over by a bunch of liberals now, do we, Donald? Meanwhile, here at Peach's Home for Wayward Liberals, it's the same old thing with my sisters, my sons, their mother, my neighbors, Scott and Ken. They continue to bash you and point out all the mistakes you're making, the lies you're telling, and the moves you're making to dismantle our country. It seems like there's nothing I can say to them to get them to consider all the good things that you think you're doing. Today, my 17-year-old said, Father, how come when a bunch of fat middle-aged white men and their ugly wives show up in the state capitol wearing assault rifles and screaming for their governors to reopen the state, Trump says they're good people, even though they're breaking the law, breaking the rules of social distancing, and threatening the establishment? How come the cops stand there with their hands across their cocks, scared to death and doing nothing? That's really some redneck bullshit. And then a bunch of overweight liberal housewives, skinny long hairs wearing Birkenstocks, and puffy-looking computer nerds show up armed with signs. They demonstrate peacefully about the cops who murder innocent black men. Then a bunch of cops in full tactical gear show up, and the chubby nerds get pushed down, pepper sprayed, tear gassed, flash grenaded, and arrested for gathering peacefully. What the fuck, Father? Well, I told Teddy to go do his chores and finish his homework, but he stood there staring at me, waiting for an answer. I told him we'd talk after dinner, that I had to go fix a chair. What am I going to tell him, sir? You got to help me here. The kid has a good point, and I can't keep putting him off. Come on, Mr. President, you always know what to say. Well, I need that big mouth of yours right now more than ever so I can answer my 17-year-old. Okay, Donald, I'll look for your answer in my email tomorrow. Your pal, Peaches.